Christina Hoff Sommers is an American academic. I don't know if you've heard the name. She challenges the prevailing trend in feminist thought, which she calls gender feminism. And she defines it this way, quote, as being dogmatically attached to the view that men and women are essentially the same. So this remains a consequential difference in worldview between many who support abortion and many who don't. Many who are pro-choice believe if a man has sex for pleasure and doesn't get pregnant, then a woman too must be able to have sex for pleasure, just as men purportedly do, and not get pregnant. And skeptics might say, you don't have to believe men and women are different to be pro-life, and you can celebrate the differences between men and women and be pro-choice. And well, this may be, but abortion does, in point of fact, demother the woman through a surgical procedure. Hence, my idea that celebrating the diverse natures of men and women means a heightened willingness to accept what that diversity brings, which in women may be, is not always, but may be pregnancy. So much for worldview. There are also very practical reasons why I believe that abortion does not and has not contributed to women's rights and freedoms. And when I first started thinking about this, the list got really long. But you will be glad to know that I shortened it to 5, so we won't be here all night. I have 5 reasons, practical reasons, why I believe that abortion does not contribute to women's rights. Point 1. Access to abortion does not and has not improved the position of women in society. If we examine the historical trajectory of the position of women in Canada, I think we can accept there were historical injustices and rights infringements against women. In 1859, married women earned the right to own property in Upper Canada. In 1918, women earned the right to vote in Canada. In 1929, the personhood case in Canada recognized women as legal persons. The Morgentaler decision at the Supreme Court of Canada made abortion on demand fully available in January 1988. It's a little bit late to the game, Dr. Morgentaler. I think women were doing quite well without you. My point here is that women made substantive achievements in discriminatory laws without access to abortion. And if you've heard me speak before, you've heard me say that I think abortion is irrelevant for the position of women. And I tell this story, it's a true story, to highlight my point, so forgive me if you have heard it. I once chatted with a woman who worked in an abortion clinic. She told me the scenario of a drug-addicted mother who didn't notice she was pregnant until about the 4th month, so it's almost halfway. She wanted an abortion, and she was told fine, but she would have to be clean, so off of drugs, in order for the abortion to occur. And this young drug-addicted mother was not able to keep herself clean. As a result, the clinic would not do the abortion, and the baby was born, itself addicted to drugs. And the irony in this sad story, I was told, is that had she managed to stay off drugs, the baby itself, already an addict in the womb, would have died, would have gone into withdrawal and died. What does it mean to offer justice in that scenario? And was an abortion denied, justice denied? And would an abortion have changed this woman's life? I'm just going to leave those as questions for you. In order to fully address how access to abortion has not helped women, I should touch on the back alley abortion argument, and this comes up often enough. Indeed, this past week I think it's come up because there's been a lot of Parliament's prorogued, so suddenly all my key issues are coming up when Parliament's prorogued. It's in the papers today, I think. So this is an argument of many pro-choicers, put simply that legalized abortion saves women's lives, because without it, we would see women suffering and dying in so-called back alley abortions. To begin with, I think that factual information is critical. We're led to believe that thousands of women died, prior to legalization of abortion. In one province, which is British Columbia, for which I have data, there were 32 cases of abortion-related maternal deaths between 1955 and 1962. There were 16 between 1963 and 1970. And there was one between 1971 and 1986. And I got this from the Canadian Medical Association Journal. So in 30 years, there were 49 deaths. And so at least in this one province, I don't think that the death toll was as high as we have been led to believe. But nonetheless, I still think that even if one woman had died, it would be a very valid argument to consider. I still can't see clear to normalizing abortion on the pain and agony of women whose situations were so dire that they sought out a back alley. My point here is that today we want to offer abortions because we believe them in some way, greater or lesser, to be compassionate. We believe they save lives. But the woman struggling so profoundly that she seeks out self-harm is just as dead in her soul with or without an abortion. I personally feel the same about abortion as I do about female circumcision. I feel a sense of revulsion, not a desire to make the practice safe. I do have a revulsion to the idea that a woman has to put her feet in stirrups and have the contents of her uterus vacuumed out in order to somehow magically attain equality, or to have that equality descend on her. An American writer, Rachel McNair, she's a peace psychologist actually in the United States, she says in her book it was legalizing abortion that brought back ally abortionists back into business. She says this in her book, Pro-Life Feminism, quote, "When abortionist Richard Musey was convicted of a woman's death by abortion in 1968, his license was revoked. When Roe v. Wade came down, he used it to go to court and get his license back." She goes on to call abortion the widespread epidemic battering of women because, and I quote here, "Surgery done on a healthy body is mutilation, and such surgery done without adequately informed consent is a battery." And early feminists did agree on the idea of abortion as battery, which leads me to my next point, my next practical point on why being pro-life is a pro-woman position. Many early feminists were against abortion, this is point 2 then, and furthermore in favor of laws criminalizing it for the protection of women, which came as news to me. Those of you who take women's studies courses will be better versed in this than I am, as I stuck to the history faculty. But early women's activists and reformers did not view abortion as part of a broader package of women's rights.